All right. Welcome everyone to Poetry Express. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're really excited that you're here with us tonight. My name is Jan Bindis-Tenney, and I'm with the Maine Humanities Council. Poetry Express is a program collaboration between Maine Humanities Council and the Maine State Library. Poetry Express gives us a chance to slow down and to consider the vast landscape of Maine poetry, especially now in these difficult times. I know for me, poetry has been a lifeline. It brings me back to ground. It slows me down. It asks me to listen, to be quiet. And I'm so excited that tonight we're offering you an opportunity to slow down and listen with our amazing featured poet, Kifah Abdulla, and 6 very talented poets who are joining him tonight. We have Linda Dolph, Kristen Hodak, Katrina Brooks, Gayla Sheldon, Wendy Smith, and Christina Torres. Tonight you'll hear Kifah and the 6 poets perform their own poems as well as poems by Maine authors. They'll tell you what drew them to the poems and what the poems mean to them. I think we're having a little technical issue with Facebook. I'm just gonna double check. Oh, I think we're live on Facebook, but.
Yeah, we are live.
Okay, cool. Sorry about
Okay.
that. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah, so tonight you'll hear Kifah and the other 6 poets perform some of their own poems as well as poems by other Maine authors. And they'll tell you a little bit about what drew them to the poems, why they wrote the poems, and what the poems mean to them. And whether you're here on the Zoom webinar with us or watching on Facebook Live, we really want to invite you to share comments and questions. On the Zoom, you can submit your comments in the Q&A function. And on Facebook, you can just add a comment or a question for any of the poets. And at the end, we'll leave a little time to read out some of the comments and questions and get feedback from the poets. So before we begin, I'd just like to introduce you to Kifah Abdulla, our featured poet. We'll take it from here. We're so lucky to have Kifah with us tonight. Kifah Abdulla is an artist, poet, performer, and teacher. He was born and raised in Baghdad, Iraq, and he now lives and works in Portland. Kifah is the author of a new memoir called Mountains Without Peaks, which I just got, and I encourage everyone to get their copy now, which is about Kifah's life in Baghdad in the early 1980s, his compulsory military service during the Iran-Iraq War, and being captured as a prisoner of war. He's also the author of an absolutely gorgeous dual language book of poetry called Dead Still Dream. Kifah is also a visual artist and he merges activism and art with an array of mediums. Currently, he's working on the project Rebel Take Action. So please welcome Kifah Abdulla and our featured poets tonight. Thank you. I'll give it to you, Kifah.
Thank you so much. Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm so pleased for tonight's performance. It's a great event with 6 wonderful poets. And I would like to thank Jane, Maine Humanities Council, Abby, and Alison Melanie from Maine State Library, the poets Linda, Kristen, Katrina, Gayla, Wendy, and Christina. So we have like the poetry, women and poetry for tonight. Yeah, it's. I would like to talk about the poetry and writing process is so important because it helps us understand and appreciate the world around us. The benefit of poetry are learning new skills, helps heal emotional pain, express love and affection, lead us to greater self-awareness, provides a gift of inspiration or education to others, and finally, like celebrate and enjoyment. So I would like to start as a program by reading 2 poems, then to introduce the 6 poets. The first poem I would like to share is about a dream one. And sometimes in life, I was found myself like in a place without windows. And recently, one of a friend artist is working on a project in a hospital to paint windows in rooms without windows. So it's beautiful that the vision leads or stimulates the other senses and emotions. A dream when I was in a place, I don't want to call that a prison of war, but there was no windows at that exact prison. So my dream just to have a small window the size of my hand. Let's start. Dream one. I dreamt of a small window. Through it flows clean air. Looking over a blue sky, white clouds travel through it. Flocks of birds pass by like air. I dreamt of a small window, the size of my hand, overlooking a sea. My eyes travel in it into distant waves of blue. The yellow sun comes, awakening the morning, and the night comes inlaid with light. A window into which the snow whispers, suspend in it the moon and the rain. Into it flow the colors of autumn, and in spring the fragrant buds. A small window in which I count my mornings and my evenings. Nesting in it are my memories. I cultivate in it lush dreams. I dreamt of a small window the size of my hand. I look from it to see my sweetheart when she comes from afar. She waves to me that she is coming soon, carrying between the folds of her heart happy news. A small window overlooking onto the rest of a new age. I dreamt in a place where my one and only dream was, and all that I wished for was to have a small window the size of my hand. I dreamt. So this is the first poem that I share, and the second poem, before I go to introduce that the six poets, it's about the title Texture. And the story about this poem, one day, exactly at the same time, like this, you know, like the autumn, the fall. And I was in like a Eastern promenade, and there was beautiful texture, the colors and the movement and the smell, everything. So that place inspired me to write this poem. Whispers come from a boat anchored deep in the sea, and in the eyes purple. A white bird flies above, beside the clouds, towards the south, lonely. Boats sway in their places over the waves, like dancers of the east, like white pearls decorating the surface of the water. A glitter of lights rides the waves waves who love the sands, sailing to the temple of the shore, roar of wind, sound of a whistle, sound of an approaching train. Circles form around a floating piece of wood, laughter of a woman encircled by a man's laugh, come from a boat anchored nearby, white sails approaching from deep on the sea. The wires of masts carry tones of the water. Smoke climbs into the air where the clouds are dense. Fast boats split the whites of the waves. A black bird flies over the mirrored water. The sky is spread out, a field of cotton at harvest time. A yacht breaks the pattern of light on the water. Color of the water is green. Color of the water is blue. Color of the water is white. Sound of drumming waves knocking on the rocks of the shore. Rocks sleeping like whales. Quiet joy. A sparrow approaches me, then disappears between the rocks like the joy. Beautiful when it comes, as the waves come to the shore, and like the love, glorious when it arrives, softening the heart, and like the sea, and I, who will be the first to laugh. Thank you for listening. Now we come to the wonderful 6 poets. So I would like to start with Linda Doloff and her poem, Lady J. Hi, Linda. How are you tonight?
I'm well, Kifah. Thank you for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. I'm Linda, and I wrote this poem because I feel America needs a wake-up call. What does justice look like in your life? What does justice look like for others? This poem is a call to action, to be aware and don't look the other way, because that's brought us where we are today, suffering with injustice locally, nationally, and globally. Lady J. Humans light up. That's how I see you. Some are bright, but rarely blinding. Mostly it's dull, like light peering through a blanket. You believe you created me, holding scales and sword, blindfolded. Yet I have always existed. Humans are exquisitely demented. You bend and twist divine justice into psychological sewage. Slavery, war, poverty, famine. Justice doesn't live in a courtroom or a statue. It lives in the soul. Is it in yours?
Thank you so much. That's really wonderful, Linda. Great. So the next poet we have right now, Kristen Hodak, and the poem, The Well. If you have something to tell us, Kristen.
Yes, hello. My poem is called The Whale. I wrote this poem because several times over my life I've heard this story of a whale, and they've dubbed it the loneliest creature on earth. It's a whale, possibly either a blue whale or a fin whale, that calls at a frequency that no other whales can hear. It's too high. And they've been tracking this whale for over 2 decades, and they've yet to hear any other whales around it. And each time I hear this poem, it's at a time in my life where I feel like secluded within myself. And the last time I heard it on NPR a few months ago, and I felt like that at that point in time, so I finally wrote a poem about it. And here it is. The Whale. Beneath the wind-blown whitecaps of the Pacific lives the loneliest creature on earth, ever roaming her boundless expanse. Year after year, month after month, day after day, hour after hour, she sings. Her vibrations rumble out through silent waters and echo off craggy shores. A barnacle earned for each song unanswered create living additions to her flourishing coat of armor. Her surroundings teem with life, yet she endures in her solitude. She knows none like her, none that would call her their own, none that could discern her song. A trill at 52 hertz, her frequency a foreign tongue. Does she know she is extraordinary, an anomaly? Does she know she is the poster child for desolation or for pity? No, she has no words for pity. No room for desolation in her 1-ton beating blue heart. She is ever hopeful, ever searching, ever thriving. I am the whale.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. That's really wonderful, Kristen. So the third poet, Katrina Brooks, and the poem named Love. So Katrina, would you like to tell us something, anything?
Sure. This poem, I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. This poem I wrote because of the way that I have always felt love, interpreted love, and what love has taught me. I've had the support of my family the whole time. It was gone for a while. It's back. And I just want to say this out loud so that they know how I feel. It's called Love Poem. Love. Sadism. Mystic, like a hot air balloon being born. Dripping broken teeth, wretched tongue and jagged eyes. Emerald hope. Calendar days lost in contemplation of heaven and hell. Smiling puppies and crying babes. Cold death. Brain numbing disappointment. Dirty fingers beckoning. Loud serenity, silent pain. Stifling shack reaching out. What's the cost to pay for my name? Horrifying comfort or beautiful shame? Loud silence fills my empty memories. Company welcomed like a rusted knife in my pregnant pain. Loneliness burns like a red hot poker jammed in the base of my skull. Love.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Katrina. This is really beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that. So number 4, the poet Guyla Sheldon and the poem Don't Lose Faith. Guyla, how are you tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You are ready for reading a wonderful poem, Don't Lose Faith. Okay. Do you have something to tell us before to read your poem?
Yes, I do.
Yes, please.
Yeah, so I wrote this poem for my children because I want them to know that no matter what obstacles life throws their way or will end up throwing their way, don't lose faith. The world can be cruel, so unpredictable and manipulative. I want my children to also know that no matter their ups and downs, to stand strong and stand strong for what they believe in, not for what's wrong, but for the greater good. I want my children to know that I love them very much and they can accomplish anything that they set their mind to.
Thank you. Go ahead.
All right, don't lose faith. Little ones, pray with all your might. Don't lose faith nor your sight. Keep on smiling when times get rough. Yes, things may be hard, but never give up. Stand strong, not just for yourself, but for your family as well. Stand strong for what you believe in, not for the wrong, but for the right. Beware of the trap of deceit of this world. It's cruel. It will swallow you whole. Don't lose faith. Don't let people bring you down into their misery. It's just plain crazy. It will drive you insane. Don't fall into their game. Don't lose faith. Don't let your guard down because people will take advantage, but don't lash back in such a way because it's not well worth it. Don't lose faith. Every day is another day, one right after another. The stuff isn't getting any better. But really, you have to realize things take time to mend. Only time will tell. Make a wish on a wishing well. Don't lose faith. Obstacles we cannot see doesn't mean they are not real. But my children, their Lord is a being whom I have faith is real and true. And I know he loves you. He's always there watching over you, no matter what you have gone through in life or will end up going through in life. He'll always be there to guide you through your ups and downs. So please, my little ones, here I say, pray. Pray with all your might. Don't lose faith nor your sight.
Thank you so much. That's really wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, it's beautiful. Now we go to the number 5 and the poet Wendy Smith. The beautiful poem, and the title is really exciting, Silent Noise. I love that. So, Wendy, how are you?
I'm great.
Great, wonderful. What do you have to tell us?
I was in my room watching the world news, and what I saw really hurt my heart in so many different ways. And that's what inspired me to write this poem. Silent noise. Chaos, noise. Flashing lights in a room with no sound. Confusion and fear through the eyes of a child, too young to understand why the hero is fighting for his life, paralyzed. A world full of beautiful colors limited to black, white, red, and blue. Hate, violence, and innocent people falling down around us like the Twin Towers on September 11th. Blood-stained hands from those who took an oath to serve and protect. Mothers burying their children that were riddled with bullets due to the color of their skin. A black man sentenced to death for screaming, "I can't breathe." The land where there is no freedom, and the home full of cowards too scared to see the beauty of color, only sees that black is darkness and white is good. A justice system where there is no justice, and anything you say or do will be used against you, but only if you're not white. A world full of injustice, prejudice, and white privilege that needs to be executed like the innocent black lives that have been taken, and filled with love, peace, and equality for all. Chaos, noise, flashing lights in a room with no sound because your TV is on mute.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Wendy. Beautiful. So now we are going to listen to Christina Torres. Who am I? Christina, how are you?
I'm fine, Kifah. Thank you for asking.
Wonderful. What do you want to tell us before you read your poem?
I wrote this poem because all my life I've always asked, who am I? This is the question that people constantly have because you never know who you are. You don't know your purpose in life. And everyone's always searching, whether they find it or not, you're still in search of who you are. So that's what inspired me to write this poem. So here we go. Who am I? Who am I? A lonely wanderer in a dry desert in search of water,
seeking shade and only burning in the hot sun, which seems to never go out, waiting for the coolness of the moon that justifies the night. Who am I? A blossoming flower that cannot bloom because the soil is so coarse. The rain doesn't come. Buried under concrete, a rose unfound. Can I grow through the concrete? Who am I? A soldier off to fight a never-ending war, fighting in a world full of hate that is longing for love, hope, maybe some faith. They say God gives his hardest battles to his strongest soldiers. Who am I? Am I God weeping for the people of my creation, weeping for their sins, weeping for their joy, weeping for all the destruction humanity has caused, weeping for the great achievements we have overcome? Does God only weep? Who am I? A motherless child longing for her touch, her words, her smell, her comfort, the surety that only a mother can give. Am I the childless mother, barren, wanting to create life, carry life, give life? Who am I? The father who wants to raise a boy to become a man, not just any man, but a righteous man, a man who knows his purpose in life. Or am I the boy who wants to be a hero and rescue the princess, who longs for the father who has so long gone? The boy with no manly guidance trying to find his way in an unjust society deemed for the rich and white. Who am I? A broken heart waiting to be mended, one that's been broken so many times it has no beats left. A beating heart that skips a beat or plays a rhythmless song only I can hear. A bleeding heart that cannot pump blood or survive inside of a being. How can I live? Who am I? A baby that cries when it's hungry, but there's no one there to feed it. Laughs when it sees angels dancing above its head with the eyes of the innocence that still lies within it. A baby trying to learn to crawl, then walk so it can conquer the world. Who am I? Am I the injustice that faces society today? The wrong that will never seem right, or the right that always seems to be wrong? Can there be any justice? Can justice correct our wrong or wrong our rights? Who am I? A question without an answer without a question. There are so many things that I can be, from living to an entity, from serene to disturbance, unfound or found, lost or not lost. I am someone in the midst of trying to figure out who I am, someone who's cried and mourned, lived and laughed, seen and saw, been and still going. Yet there is still that question, who am I? Once again, who am I?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Christina. Yeah, it's really wonderful to hear 6 wonderful poets reading their poems. And here I would like to say again about the benefit of the poetry. It's really great experience to say who we are, to have like our voice, like as you say, Christina, that who am I? But also that to let the others about to know us, also that to bring consciousness. And it is really a great thing that for anyone to reward yourself by reading, like poetry, but also to experience writing poetry. That will be a great experience. Thank you so much again. And now I would like to introduce another 2 poems. And the third one I say, and it's about a group of short poems, Happy Path, Touch Conversation of the Spirit. How generous is the imagination? It's wonderful, this experience I practiced with myself. And why this series or the group of short poems? And one day I was reading for Rumi. Maybe you know this is like a great Sufi poet from that 13th century. And another poet, Hafiz. So they inspired me to write these short poems. Happy. I dreamt that I was a sparrow, joyous in a tree, in a field far away. Follow me, little bird, across the enchanted fields. I dreamt on a green branch in my blissful nest. Path. I walk alone on a path. It doesn't end. I walk my eyes towards a gleam which doesn't fade. So I quicken my steps in freedom that I might find the beginning. Sound. My ears are very tender to hear pure sound. The first notes of raindrops leaving a cloud, and the first whisper of a breeze ruffling the tips of a grass. The first sound of calm light reviving the morning. Don't narrow your hearing. Let it go deep until it explores the secrets, those things present in the heart of night. They make my hearing soft, my spirit light, my body very free, and the need for my beloved clear. Touch. Some touch we need, our whole lives. The kiss of light on the spirit. The tree besieges the wind to move its leaves. And the leaf yearns, it needs the earth's touch. The earth besieges the cloud to release its rain. And the raindrop yearns, it needs the earth's touch. The bird besieges the wind to move its wings. And the feather yearns, it needs the wind's touch. The sea besieges the sun to caress its waves. And the wave yearns, it needs the light's touch. The lover besieges love to flood his heart. And the heart yearns, it needs the spirit's touch. In the morning, I open the door and ask the light to come in and to kiss its face on my face, glowing inside of me. In light that will never leave my soul, not ever, ever, ever. Conversation of the spirit. One thing I know, that I am present here. I feel my spirit's rhythm in my body, like the light does with the darkness. I illuminate myself and I spread light. My spirit whispers the stories to the spirits around me, like the whispers between the wind and the water, intertwined in a long embrace, like lovers in radiant moment. One thing I know, that my spirit doesn't end with the wrinkles of the ages. I feel its rhythm, movements of longing in the deepest being. So these are the short poems about the one title, How Generous is the Imagination. The second poem here I would like to read is Longing. It's about experience. Again, I found myself in a place that with many people like me, also that without windows, but we were alike in one like a prison uniform, the colors of the skin and the fins. We were like ghosts. So this is my experience with hunger and thirst behind walls. Longing. Nothing is here behind the wall but me and ghosts and the taste of hunger. No brilliant sun, no mesmerizing night, no moon of light, no shimmering stars, no traveling wind, no clean water, no tree, no flower, no sweet scent. Nothing is here behind the wall but me and ghosts and the taste of hunger. He who knows the taste of hunger finds more longing for things. And he who is denied the taste of things finds more longing for hunger. I hungered for the sun, and I fixed my eyes on the morning. Light walks over eyelashes like beautiful girls. I hungered for the evening wind, filling my chest with air. Wind carrying the scent of an orange blossom. I hungered for the embrace of memories, lingering dreams of childhood, flirtations of the girls. Nothing is here behind the wall but me and ghosts and hunger and the taste of hunger. I hungered for a rose, blooming on my shoulder, to become my orchard, and the night slumbering in my lap, dreaming of the morning, and for my sweetheart, wandering about the temple of love, awakening the longing in my chest. I hungered. She touches the edges of my spirit, smells the essence of my yearning, hears the words of my heart. I hungered. She becomes a piece of my body. I hungered for a wave to wash over my hands, that two rivers would meet in my dream, and that I would be born anew. Nothing is here behind the wall but me and ghosts and the taste of hunger. So, thank you. This is the poem I said, it's longing. Okay. I think that the voice is clear, right? Yeah. So now we start on the second part with the 6 wonderful women poets. And they will read for another poets. We have a bunch of poems. And again, I would like to start with Linda Doloff and reading Lilac by Lala Drew. Where is Linda?
Yeah, thank you, Kifah.
I want to ask you questions before you start reading Lilac by Lala Drew. I really love your performance, how you read. You know, that's really great. So why this poem? This is one, and what it means that to you?
I chose this poem because it speaks of having a voice. And I believe that everyone should be heard and speak their truth.
Thank you. Beautiful.
Yes.
So, yeah, this is what do you have anything to tell us or before you read this poem?
That is what drew me to the poem, and I really enjoyed the way it took me through a whole range of emotions, and I hope to express that through my reading.
Good, wonderful. Let's go.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Lilac by Lala Drew. For a long time, I equated being good with being silent. I was told to hold contradictions in my mouth. Speak up, but stay silent. Speak up when you have something to say, but don't say the truth. Don't speak your fear. Speak so you can be heard. I have a rage inside me which is yet to find its limit. It crawls up my back, claws out my eyes, and spills from my mouth. I war with everyone around me. Words ripping, eyes tearing the way through my day. I dropped a bottle of perfume. My grandmother gave it to me when I was a child. It smells strong like lilac, and it stained the tapestry. I can't help the smell. And the bottle I kept safe for years is now gone, like the woman who gave it to me. Is it a sign or just a bottle or a combination of the two? A reminder from the ancestors not to forget them, telling me sometimes bottles break when what's inside needs to be let out.
Thank you so much. That's really wonderful. Thank you. Great. Linda, I appreciate that. Yeah. I love your reading your poem. Good. So again, with the Kristen Hodak, Spring Pickup by Carol Little. But again, Kristen, and why this poem? What it means that for you, why you chose this poem? Yes.
I chose this poem because it reminds me of my neighborhood in Portland, and mostly because we had a mattress that was on the corner, and it was moldy and rotting and a little home for critters, and I would walk by it every day, and it would just kill me to look at it. And right now, I would kill to walk by that mattress every day.
In Portland, you say?
Yes.
Okay. So you are talking, you were about the spring in Portland.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, please, go ahead.
So spring pickup. Dozens of mattresses line the road, neighbors tossing beds as if the hotel bed bug blight had reached down east. Some are stacked like the princess in the pea, while others float like rafts. on brown shoulders, taking in the rain. And yes, it's Maine, a coating of snow which makes you shiver, whose dreams shift to Arctic places whenever your wife pulls the comforter away in her troubled sleep. Miserable things, not the body count. Your mother called street side bags of garbage in the city more morose than that, unfit for making love, or in the meanest slumber, unless you're homeless and exploring Sumsville in April, in which case you can't believe your luck. A bed every 100 yards or so, buttressing the cold road, awaiting the blissful collapse of your worn and wandering body.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Good, great. I hope that our audience enjoy with us this wonderful night performing of 6 poets. And now we are going to see or to listen to Katrina Brooks' Dear Ghosts. When I said all I ever wanted was blind. Okay, so Katrina, yeah, I just can say here, Dear Ghosts. I read about the ghosts. Why this poem and what it means that to you?
This poem to me represents my life as an addict, my life coming into recovery, how I felt. It also represents my past domestic abuse. It makes me want to share.
Good.
So, dear ghosts, when I said all I ever wanted was land, I meant a body no one could steal. I crumble a clod of earth between my fingers, and my fingers crumble with it, cell by cell. Let them fall. I dig this ground until it furrows a map of my own body, curling or splayed, silent spine of stones laid to rest in a path. Stony hips pointing towards the moon. With each step, let me trample myself back into myself until there is no room for a breath. Between grains of dirt, no hollow left. Always, I hear you loudest in darkness. Night thickens across my skin, and mouths open up everywhere. Night thickens across my skin, and mouths open up everywhere. A cobweb clings. I swipe and swipe, my arms, my face, but it won't come loose. You have burrowed a fever under my skin, becoming a whisper inside my flesh, like waking from a blackout, like waking still drunk in a tangle of strange sheets. Each day, you leave your mark. Pile of granite at the base of your driveway, bracelet of bruises looming on my wrists, blood blister in the toe of my boot. Because of you, I am learning to pray. Let my land become that which no one can enter. Let my land become that from which I cannot escape. It was someone else's before mine, but now it is mine. Let me build something, anything that will last.
Thank you so much. That's really wonderful. You know, it's really wonderful that writing poetry is different than reading poetry. You know, behind the words, like music and emotions, passions, and I can feel that when you are reading. I say thank you so much, each one of you that put, that energy and passion, emotions, and I taste also that the harmony. Thank you so much. Thank you, Katrina. Now we are going to listen to Galia Sheldon Limo by Robert M. Chute. How is it pronounced? Like Chute. How do you pronounce that? Chute. Like a French name. Anyway, what just like it's different than your poem, Don't Lose Faith. So why this poem and what it means for you, and memories, anything, stories?
So I chose this poem because I feel like that there was a lot of emotion behind it that I could in some way or another like kind of relate to. And especially like, you know, standing still and like time and like in some kind of like time warp and like not knowing how like to get out. So like that right there would be like, you know, my limbo of whatever it may be. But yeah. So here's this poem, Limbo.
Yes.
He named the old farm Limbo, halfway between the crossroads and the town. Never seeing which was heaven, which hell. One road, going nowhere now. Dropped out, was deep in grass, gray birch and young pine crowding in. 2 gray houses long abandoned, now a run of seedy pasture, a graveyard, overgrown, too old for sediment, as old and as much a part of life as the dead it holds beneath. The daisy dressed in hawk-eyed mounds, some lilacs have escaped the fire. The cellar hole is full of char and vine, infused white gems of mason glass. The barn went too, its heated, eroded granite sills. Going back to the soil, its heat eroded, going back to the soil, the 4 scorched maples by the wall stand and grieve. For time's slow fire has consumed them too. For monument, the briar supports, erect, one spoke, rotted wagon tire.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Great. Good. Again, we will listen to Wendy Smith, In the Wind by Lee Sharkey. By the way, yeah, I know most of the poets here, like, and I saw greeting and thanks you from Carol Little to Kristen Hodak, but here about Lee Sharkey. She's a great poet too. And Wendy, hi Wendy. So again, what do you want to tell us, and why this poem, what it means to you?
I chose this poem because it brought me back to my journey from active addiction into long-term recovery. The words just stuck out to me, kind of like my life was going through it. In the wind. If you walk the same path every day through the woods, clearing the way in your coming and going, you know when branches have fallen. Each branch down has a trace of the winds of descent vibrating through it. In the time between coming and going, in the rain of branches from the understory, you can read the night, the wind, the lack of it, what has happened back to happening. The forest is sloughing, dead to make room for the sun, and you, bent there to gather branches, have always been walking the dark woods. Children hurry through to get where they are going, yet the forest is the coming and the going.
Thank you. Great. Thank you so much. Wendy. Again, to the last poet, number 6, Christina Torres, with the poem Half Ourself and Half Not by Colin Cheney. I know Colin Cheney. I used to see him at Maine College of Arts, I used to teach there, like Arabic calligraphy, and he's teaching at Mecca, Maine College of Art too. So it's a great poem. I read this poem before. So Christina, are you with us? What do you want to tell us?
Yes,
Why
I
this
am.
poem? What it means for you? Why this poem?
So I chose this poem because it's like, for me, it was like a person, but with just differences. And it's like, it's so many differences in everyone. And it was just like the intertwinement of everything in this poem was just amazing for me. It really hit me. So it's Half Ourselves and Half Not by Colin Cheney. If you sleep the night inside someone, her cells, salt water stains, fused with yours like the blood of twins. Apes and marijuana grow stronger. Galileo tells us, influenced by the sphere of angels. Here, then, thumbnail sketches for zoning changes along the riparian bank of the species boundary for chimera. Like fiber optics, human nerves lay long glassy bones, spinal veins of fetal mouse that would be drowned before ever waking. A hen's brain replaces a quail, nodding, cooing, not understanding the change. Less human, less nature, less soulless in these songs, half ourselves and half not. Did I wake you? My singing? Here, the sphere of angels. Here, the sphere of sea. Darwin, writing in his garden, remembers the sea. Like some sleep he feared he'd never wake from. If all men were dead, then monkeys make men, he noted for himself. And almost as an aside, men make angels. If my nerves were fed to an osprey, a finch, could she still take wing? Rain behind the bedroom blinds, I will wake, won't I? To your cells replacing mine, this Cape lioness, liver, aorta of a garter snake, and from a goat twisted with an orb spider, milk boiled down to silk. Gossamer, the structure of Bethlehem steel.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you, Christina. Yeah. And yes, again, thank you to all six our wonderful poets. And I hope that many feedback from the audience. Okay, this is my turn now again. Hello, everyone. I hope that many audience people are watching and this wonderful night performance. So I want to talk about the giving. And that's remind me about that story, the giving tree. I think most of the American people have read this short story. It's not for just for children, but it's so beautiful. My gosh, beautiful, sad. But this is the giving. So just it's remind me. And I wrote a poem just to say thank you to a friend of mine. When I was living in Holland, a part of my journey in life, then a friend gave me a hand, and I wrote this poem for her. And then the time when she received the poem, she sent me that a message, a letter, and she said, just like I cried. This is very simple, just like I gifted her, like I sent her just words. That was my gift for her. But anyway, this is about the most wonderful thing in life is the giving, is to give anything. It's not just like I mean that money or any assets, like a smile, beautiful words, anything, just to give a hand to someone. in thanks to Janita. In the city of Huron, the light was robust. In the window of the small space, the nectarine wall radiating heat, the clock on the wall like the heart pulsing a beat, a picture of a white cat roaming in feline society. I was telling a tale of memory. A woman was listening to me. With devotion, a queen of dreams, her smile is a poem and a melody, a song of hope. Light and its shadow color the matter behind and before her. The crimson chair, the carpet color of a blue air, a shadowy plant dreams of water. Her purse is on the floor, scattered across her table paper, and a lamp stands beside her. I sat before her, surrounded by pure white walls and a painting of a rose, the light and its shadow darting to capture everything, contending over even her eyes. I was telling my story. A woman was listening to me. Her possessions listened alongside. Even her coat, black and hanging on the wall, was for me listening. Our differences and similarities unite in the substance of the room. Our souls and our bodies know human love and hearts deepen. The butterfly of light colors our lives. There was a gleam of hope in her eyes, sparking to my eye like a lighthouse. At the last moment, as my boat was sinking in the sea of my psyche, her hand pulled me smoothly into port, the harbor of life. There in the city of Huron is a woman who I called the ship of salvation. Yeah, this is that. Thanks to Janita. She is a Dutch and in Holland. Yeah, and it's a wonderful thing that she visited me here with her husband. In 2019, it was really wonderful. We enjoyed the time in Portland, and for the first time for them to eat lobster. Okay, I will close the program with the last poem called Home. Also, you know, home, it doesn't mean always that the place where we were born. I think that the place where you find yourself, the place where you have your voice, the place where you are free and feel the freedom. So I wrote this poem, you know, about what it means, the home. So many different things that it means for me to be home. So let's go. Home. My mother's womb, her breasts, her lap, her heart was my home. My father's arms, his warm shoulders, his perfumed skin was my home. My childhood hometown, where orchards were full of vines, pomegranate, apricot, quince, fig, date palm, and lemon tree, was my home. Soon I grew. An old divination predicted my long departure. A rooting bunker in a fierce war was my home. In a big desert where I was astray, I found myself without a shelter. My body was my home. A perilous journey left me in a prison of war. Its walls were dunk. I learned not to lose freedom. I defeated nightmares. My mind was a free bird. Dreams rose from ashes. I dreamt of a home, its surroundings, a garden, a size of the sky. My imagination grows. My soul is mystified. Wherever I go, I find home. The wind is my home. It takes me onward. The cloud is my home. I rumble in a blue dome. My home is petals of marigold. Words of a poem are my home. 62 years of travel, escape, prison, exile, migration, and refuge. I found a home in the last station of a tortuous road. It contains my dreams, hope, play, and love. A home full of peace. The blue sky and the blue ocean meet beyond its windows. My home is here, Portland. Thank you so much. Thank you. So it's really wonderful and great. I really appreciate all the wonderful poets. If you have something to tell, please, Linda, Gaila, Wendy, Kristen, Katrina, anything, or do we go back to Jane to see? Hello, Jane.
Hello. Thank you all. You all were
Thank you.
so moving. Kifah and all 6 of you poets, thank you so much. We did get some wonderful, thank you for all of your wonderful supportive comments in the audience. I think we all appreciated them a great deal, and there were so many of them, too many to name. But we did receive a few questions, and I thought we could just maybe answer 1 or 2 if we have time. And I'm going to combine 2 questions that we received from both Erica and Greg. Erica says, amazing job, everyone who shared tonight. What do you hope your poetry will do to inspire those listening with you tonight? And Greg asks similarly, this was all very powerful, original poetry, very emotional, about desolation, anger, justice, and lots of other emotions. What do you hope for when you express these strong emotions in poetry? So those are the questions. Does anyone, maybe we could have 2 people respond. Does anyone want to take a crack at responding? Christina, go ahead.
So in this day and age, it's hard to express yourself, and it's even harder to get people to listen. What most people don't understand is the difference between hearing and listening. When you hear, it's just a sound that goes in and comes out, but when you listen, it stays with you. So to be able to express and have people listen, and it makes a statement and people get it, it's like, yes, like I want to continue to talk. I want to continue to be able to express myself and get this point across, because there's a lot of things going on that we need to express. That's just my feeling on it. So.
Thank you, Chris. Absolutely. Does anyone else want to respond? You can just come off mute.
Yeah, I think, just like to say something to Kristen, yes, we need to listen more than to talk, because when we listen, we learn. Yeah, if we don't listen, we don't learn. Yeah, it's really good.
I was once told that we are given 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. So if we have 2 of something, that means we need to use it more than the other, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think that the others, they have an answer, something to say. Gaila, Wendy, Katrina, Linda, yes.
So I agree with what Chris said. There's a lot going on in the world, a lot of hatred, a lot of lack of knowledge, maybe, or maybe just ignorance that's going on. And I think with us just hearing it, like on the news, are we really hearing it? Through poetry, you tend to listen and you tend to hear what somebody is saying. Writing the poem that I wrote, I just wanted people to listen and say, oh, wow, like this really is a problem. Like, and if just one person listens and changes the way they think, the way they act, their actions, whatever, then that's one less person we have to work on later.
Thank you so much, Wendy. Does anyone else want to answer?
Hi, it's Linda. Hi, Jan, and everybody. I think the poetry that we read tonight and the women created tonight had a lot of strong emotion to it, and I think they're kind of action poems in terms of when you listen to them, they evoke emotions inside you, and I think that's what we're trying to convey, is that we have all these strong emotions around big issues like addiction and justice and things of that nature. And without the emotion behind it, it's really just words. And you need those feelings in order to actually take positive action. And I believe that's what the message is tonight, is a call to action, to think about these things and maybe make some improvements in your own world. Because if we each do something ourselves, then the small makes big for big change.
Thank you.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah.
That ties into another question we received from Kate. Kate says, fabulous work. Very powerful to hear you raise your voices up. We need to hear it. So her question is, where will you take your voices next? And what change and support do you need from, she asked, particularly from the academic humanities. So I guess she means universities in particular, but yeah, where are you all going to take your voices next? Any ideas?
I'll take my voice anywhere that anybody will listen.
All right.
I hope we will see more poems from you, all of you. Yeah. And perhaps, books. I believe that you can do that.
Katrina, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, I am probably going to take my voice to UMA, or at least that's one place. I've been asked to be a part of a lot of the things going on there and to tell my story and read my poetry. So that's where I'm going to take it.
Wonderful. That's awesome. Okay, our last question is, where does your inspiration come from to write poetry, if you feel comfortable sharing? And that's from Raven.
I'll go. So for me, my inspiration comes from like the events that I've experienced in life. Also like a lot of feelings that I write in my poems that I feel like I can't completely express to, another person. So I just put it on paper. Also, like the one I wrote and read tonight. So like the events that have happened to me and all these emotions, everything that I have felt, like I want to pass down like the knowledge to my kids, and to like, so they'll end up learning as they grow. But like I feel like in order to have them also grow up, to guide them in a way, so therefore hopefully they are not blinded to things, and they'll keep their head high and be strong.
I got my inspiration a lot from my mom and my sister. They always encouraged me to share what I write. My sister repeatedly tried to get me to do poetry contests, and I never did. And so now I am. I'm just gonna get my voice out there and hope that they hear it and feel it and are proud.
I'll say my inspiration usually comes from any feeling that makes me physically feel something. So when I hear the story about the whale, like my heart just aches for this creature that I don't know, but I feel I put human emotions on something that may not even feel that way, but it's how I feel. And just anything that resonates with me and physically makes me feel like something tingly, or my stomach, or anything like that.
I'm gonna say, for me, my inspiration, well, like I first told Jan in the beginning, I'm not a poet. I really don't.
What are you saying? You say you are not a poet?
I'm really not, Kifah. I learned to love poetry through the class that we had. So, I mean, my inspiration came from like being around wonderful people and like them being able to express themselves. So I'm like, okay, well, I want to express myself too. I got some things I want to say, and I guess it turned out well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For me, oh, whoops.
Go ahead.
For me, the inspiration comes from within, something I'm passionate about, something I envision to be different, or feel that deeply that people need to hear. It's just from within, it just pops out.
All right. Okay. Well, this has been incredible. I just want to thank again everyone who's watching out in the internet land and from their homes. I just want to also warmly thank Kifah Abdulla for being an incredible featured poet for this event. And absolutely to all 6 poets, just thank you so much for sharing your hearts and your poems with all of us. I think this is the best part of my week, and I'm going to carry it with me in my heart. So thank you. But I guess this is us signing off.
Yes, yeah.
Do you want to say any final words, Kifah?
Just to say, like, thank you to everybody's, like from the, Maine Humanities, like Abby's, State Library, the audience, thank you so much. It's wonderful feedback. I just like saw one of the feedback It's I don't remember the name, but it's like more poems, please. That's really wonderful. And really, I'm so pleased to be part of this project. And thank you so much to 6 wonderful poets. I really appreciate that. You are wonderful. Thank you so much.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.